You see? I didn't walk up. I said, and you didn't either. Now he and I are sitting on common ground. And we can start really talking about what Freemasonry is about. And we had a good meeting for 3 hours over lunch, and then he came over to my place. And I had everything laid out in the kitchen. On the dining room table. We wouldn't have to waste time flipping pages all over the place. And I showed him he said, wow, he said, I didn't know I was in it. He said, you know, my grandfather and my great-grandfather and my father in England, he migrated to Canada in 1951 and started ranching in the cotton area. He said, they were all Masons. But he said, you know, he said, I can't believe it. He said, I can't believe it. He said, I phoned my mother the other day and told her that I was talking to someone about Freemasonry and I'm thinking maybe of leaving it. And she told me that my father had also been questioning it before he died. He was happy to hear that his father was questioning it before he died. And he left. You know, it's not hard to leave the Masons. You don't have to be afraid of leaving. Okay? Because you can leave for personal reasons. And you don't have to explain those reasons to anybody. You can ask for a demit and have your name struck off the registers of any level that you are in. That's one way. Another way is to not pay your dues. Okay? And in 3 years you'll be dropped, suspended. Okay? I know a young man in Calgary who talked with me and wants to arrange a meeting with him, his father and I. And he joined the lodge, and after this third-degree initiation, something, he said, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I better not. This is not me. And he hasn't returned to the lodge now for 3 or 4 years. But his father keeps paying his dues for him. You know, when he would come back. You know, he didn't sign up. He says something just told me that I'm not, I shouldn't.
Should you just, is that the way you should put it, or?
No, I don't
Should
think,
you
I don't-
stand up and give your true reason for it? I mean, maybe there's other Christians in our organization that you can see that they are being deceived, or is that not?
I suppose a person could
Is there too much pressure?
get up and say why you want to leave. You know,
What would they do to you?
I don't think we do anything to it.
What's this?
Well, a lot of people are afraid of that. They're afraid of all the penalties that they are. I mean, I'm asked that question all the time. You know, what can be done to me? Okay, I'm revealing the secrets of Freemasonry.
Would there be any penalty?
You know, but you know something? You shouldn't be afraid. Okay, you should never be afraid to speak the truth, especially if your truth is backed up by what the scriptures say. You know, if Paul had been afraid, he would have never, Christ, God would have chosen him to do healing. You know, fear is a terrible thing. And you shouldn't. I know some Masons that are so scared they're afraid to leave. They've been so frightened by this, by these penalties that they've taken in the first 3 degrees, that they're afraid to leave. But you're free to leave, actually. Yes.
Would there be any penalty for speaking out, you said, against leaving the Bible and the Quran both on the altar? Would there have been a penalty for speaking openly against that in
In lodge?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The Worshipful Master would have told you. This is the directions of Grand Lodge. You obey or else. Period. He also has total control of you as well. He is the sole authority of the lodge at that time. The lodge for his period of ruling. You know what I mean? For the year. And you choose another one. But Grand Lodge said, put the Quran beside the Bible. Because that's the way, because that is the rule.
So you just don't question anything, whatever's
No.
saying?
In reality, You could have had the Holy Bible here, the Koran here, the Book of Mormon's here, the Witchcraft Bible here, the Satanic Bible here, and have one member for each one of those religions being initiated once. Understand what I'm telling you? Okay? The altar is as broad as is necessary to put all the holy books of all the different world religions on it. You know, something else. Fanny Hall, on page on page 92 of the Lost Keys of Freemasonry. Now, he's written 5 books on Freemasonry. This guy is not slow. He's written one on ancient Europe, Egyptian masonry. He's also got a book on the demise of North America, of America. Okay, no, he's written several books, but here's what he says on page 72 of the Lost Keys of Freemasonry. Man is a god in the making. And, as in the mystic myths of Egypt, on the potter's wheel he is being molded. When his light shines out to lift and preserve all things, he receives a triple crown of godhood and joins that throng of master masons who, in their robes of blue and gold, are seeking to dispel the darkness of night with the triple light of the Masonic Lodge. That's why in the 19th degree, the priesthood of Melchizedek was conferred on me, because I was deemed to be a god of the making. Just like to do in those other 4 or 5 organizations, including the Mormon Temple. That's all I have on this.
I have a question about the structure. Okay, you alluded to the Grand Council and everything, but how is the structure varied from the local level to the national level for authority?
Each, I believe that there is probably a grand body for all of North America, but the provincial bodies each have their own grand lodge.
How big?
And every state has their own grand lodge.
When you say Grand Lodge, I don't know if you're talking about 1 or 2 people, or you're talking about...
No, it covers all it governs all the lodges within the province, or all the lodges within the state. Okay, the Grand Lodge of Alberta covers all the lodges of the province of Alberta. The Grand Lodge of Saskatchewan would cover all the lodges, would govern all the lodges and set the rules and regulations and everything. And there's representatives to this lodge. They elect a grand lodge, like president, the secretary, the treasurer, and all the different grand lodge offices. And once a year they meet. Once a year, delegates from the lodges go to the grand lodge meeting on a yearly basis, and they have an organized meeting. That's where the past officers are done, and they're given aprons to commemorate their office. That's why you'll see sometimes Masons wear very colorful aprons with bright yellow, bright blue, bright orange, red on them, really colorful, beautifully sewn, as a memento of the fact that they held an office, the Grand Lodge office on the provincial body. Okay.
And then above that, there's some form of a national or...
Could be national or maybe a continental, or maybe United States and Canada combined. So that'd be the York Rite or the Fort Royal Arch Rite. Yeah. Though both members go to the Grand Lodge in the province, so it'd be the same rite. They both rites together.
Okay, well, what would happen then if like, okay, for example, in churches, how it works is some churches, their doctrines vary, and then there's splits and so on, and you have different groups and so on. Does something like that happen with the Masonic Lodge too?